Hello there guys, welcome back. We're going to start working now on how to view files now and the toolbar and the playback. So again, we have this file. So if I press here, if I want to see what this file has, I press 1. Just remember, for example, if I have a copy of this, if I duplicate this, I press Control C, Control V to copy it. So now I have 2. So 1, 2. So now if I press this one 1, I can select this one and press number 2, so then I will have 1 and 2. Okay, so now I can press 1, 2. You see how the light goes 1, 2, 1, 2. So if I have a different image here, then I will be able to see it differently. So probably I can go here and find there's another image that I have here that I think I left to there. This one, just something that I found on the internet. So I'm just gonna delete this and so I have something. So here we have this and we have that. Just look at this. We got this one 1, 2. So this 1 and 2. So if I want to put 1, 2. So it's always good for you because you can compare. Okay. So 1 here. Look at this. This is the resolution. The viewer is telling me I only want one viewer, and this is an image that has a 1920 by a 18. If I press number 2, which is the other stream that I had connected, this is a different image with different aspect ratio, different dimensions. This is a 1460 by 582. Okay, so that's completely different. So just bear in mind that they always change. Okay, so if you're going to be working on a project, obviously you're going to have a final output, and I'm going to show you how to do that, the final output in your project, and then so you have everything. So whatever you bring is already formatted for that size. But if you bring something with different size, that's the size you're going to be working on. So at the moment, the way it works, like I said, if I want to do something to this, okay, and then I will have to apply a node here and then cascade a node and then keep going. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to first show you a little bit what's the viewer here. And the viewer pretty much here, to what you have to look is I'll have to look at the 1, 2, 3 things here. Okay, so here is exposure and this is the gamma. Okay, if I pump this up like that, you can see I can see more of the image. This is only the gamma. This is only in the view. There's nothing is not damaging this image. This image is exactly the same. This is something that I'm putting here so I can view the file better. Okay, so if I want to knock it down and make it darker, then I go all the way down. Remember, this is only for you to view. Okay, so whatever you do here, if you click the button here, it goes back to the default, the original. So even if you go to that one, it goes back to the original. The same go with here. This is the f-stop, just like a camera. So I go put one stop up, so I can bring more light, and I can knock it all the way down. So this is only, again, this is only for you to view while you are working on the viewport. Okay, this is nothing to do with the actual manipulation of the image. So if I click here, it goes again the same principle as Y. So if I go here, I press 1, you always go back to the one that I just did. So you always go back to the one step behind. Okay, so we go down, we go there, and we go up. If we go here, we go back to this one, we go back to the other one. So you can compare. This is good for you comparing files, so you can see what it looks like if you brighten it up a little bit. But there are nodes who help with exposure and the gamma. And we're going to talk about that during the course, so don't worry about that for now. Just want to know that this, what you see here, is only this. Okay, just as you know already in Photoshop, an image is comprised of 3 channels: RGBA, red, green, and blue, and alpha. Okay, so if I press R, I get only the red channel. If I press G, I only get the green channel. If I press B, I only get the B channel. Okay, or the blue channel. Okay, so RGB, red, green, and blue. A, it gives me the alpha. This is the alpha, the black and white image, so I can use as a cutout. We will be talking about what alphas are, so don't worry about that for now. But I know that you can have channels. Okay, just note that this file is the EXR. Again, when we talk about a file, EXR allows you to have more than just red, green, and blue, and alpha. Okay, a JPEG image, for example, here it has red as well, green, blue. But this one in this case hasn't got an alpha. JPEGs do not have an alpha. If you need an alpha, you need to have a different format. I believe TIFFs, PNGs, Targas, EXRs, the one that we're going to be working on throughout the work course, and then the one that you want to render stuff out from Maya will be XR. That's the one that can allow you to have more layers. Okay, so we're going to be talking about that more in depth, but for now I want you to know that in this file is not only red, green, and blue and alpha. There is more to that. There's more layers, and you can see them here. So here you can see this is quite a lot of them. You can see that that's why this file is 48 meg, because I got RGBA, I got an alpha. Okay, I got something called depth, but you cannot see it. But if you see here, for example, if you see here this number in the red here, you see that this number here, how it changes, the red, green, and blue. You got 3 numbers here. So you press, for example, Control. I think Control Shift, and then you got the one. You see this one here, red, green, and blue. This number is way more than 1. Okay, and that's because I'm just gonna press Control Shift. Put that. So anyway, so you got these. Okay. Okay, so I got this now. So you mean this number is pretty much there, but that's something to do with rendering. But don't worry about it. We're going to talk about that when we talk about RenderMan. So I'll show you what is a depth pass is. So the moment you can see this number goes up, the further it's away from the camera, the bigger the number. This number here is pretty much the units that tells me how far that, for example, the tree that is going to be here is far away from the camera. So if you go here, this tree here is, I don't know, God knows how many file, but anyway, so the stuff that you see here, if you get red, green, and blue, this is what you have here, these numbers, okay? And these numbers here are red, green, and blue because that's the channel you are viewing, okay? In this case, the layer, sorry, that's the layer you are viewing. So this is layers. See here, this is layers, channels or layers, and this is channels, but the channel within the layers, and this is the style that you're gonna see it red, green, and blue. You can see luminance, but this is something that you don't have to worry about. And this is pretty much the alpha. Srgb is pretty much the monitors we use. Rec 709, I think, the HD TVs, and this is a new one that I never play. But you just leave it here in sRGB, which is the gamma that you use, like the Photoshop gamma for the JPEGs. So when we talk about gamma later on, I will show you, I will explain to you what gamma is and what the role this plays there. So the moment we say again, so we go alpha, you see, you go more, I go depth, I go something called ambient occlusion, you see. This is another pass that I render within Houdini that allows me to, to darken things out a little bit and then, help out with the overall shape, okay? So that's something that I did there, but something that I need to create my comp, that's the decision you make when you render stuff. So you got something here called color ID. You see I got color ID, so I can pick up individual trees like the red trees, the one that are in the red channel. Again, if I press red, you see that's the red, the green, and the blue, and they're all together here. Okay, this is IDs. There's another pass that I did because I couldn't put them all of them in one go. There's something that I call like the hero trees and stuff. So I go ID the birds. You see some birds here. Believe it or not, there are some birds flying around here, and I put this in a layer so I can tweak them individually. So I go indirect diffuse. This is not very good. Indirect diffuse, for example, indirect reflect. It's not much. Motion blur. This is something I can use for motion blur in comp. For example, if I go here into direct diffuse, for example, this. Okay, so this is, you see this light here is only, let me put it up here. You see, it's only this. It's only one light that I use here. So I got it in a separate channel, so I can use this to enhance this little bit here. So I put, like, you can see all these are actually light. You see, they're like 30 or 5. I got the shadows as well. This is the shadows in a separate pass. I got all the layers I have here. See, motion back forward, disparity. No, that's something that comes with Nuke to recognize it. And I think that's it. This is all individual layers there. So if I go, I think RGBA alpha. So I got this, an alpha, and if I knock this up, probably you cannot see it there, but you might see it here. There's something here going on. You see, it's a little light there, so you can see I can go information there that I can tweak individually. I can create a mask out of that. Okay, so just to let you know that you have all that. So RGBA is pretty much the one standard you're gonna see. But within this, there is tons of layers that you can use, okay? And you can output all those from your renderer. In this case, I use Houdini, so I set all that up individually. So I think this is just a good introduction to what the viewer is. You remember the viewer, you got the channels. The channel, for example, if I select alpha, I got the alpha within all this stuff. So individually go red, green, and blue, so you can see them there. The viewer is only for viewing stuff, so don't worry about that for now. Okay, so you have the viewer. Now here you got the toolbar, and the toolbar is where all the tools are. You can have here read, write. You got a checkerboard as well. You can have a checkerboard. If I press 3, look at this. You go 1, 2, 3. So if I press 1, I have this file. If I press 2, I have this one. If I press 3, I have this one. So this file, you see, it comes differently. This here is the actual default. of the project. Okay, and I'm gonna show you later on how to set that up. So whatever you bring is automatically formatted to whatever setting you put in the project. Okay, so if for example, let's say that I want to put a node here, for example, let's go back to this, and then I want to put something now that pretty much you can find as well in Photoshop, which is the blur node. So if I press tab and I type blur, okay, and I connect it here, so you see now I have this original, now I have this, which is the blur, and this is the property tab, and the property tab, that's where I adjust everything, all the settings for this node in particular. You have to double click to change it. Okay, you can put more nodes. You can have here to, I don't know many, but you can put, I like only to work with 1 or 2 so I don't get confused. So if I go here, double click, and I increase the size of the blur, look what happened with the image. Just gonna pump it up a little bit so you can see. You see what happened with the image? It went blur because I applied something to it. Okay, so if I want to apply another node, there's another node called gray. So I put tab grade, and I type something else here. So I double click here, and this allows me to change the color. So I'm gonna I don't know, lift the colors. The black here, you see, I can change it. I can make it darker. I can change stuff like this. I can probably increase the gamma. Okay, so let's see this here. So I tweak the whole image, but the image still, if I go back to this one, the image you see hasn't been touched. It's just it's gone through this step, next step, and then here whenever I finish, then I put the right now, and then I write out, and then this is what it's gonna spit out. Okay, this is the problem. This is the image that's gonna be rendered out, because that's the one that's gonna go from this to the blur to the gray. Okay, so again, if I want to, I'm just gonna reset this. You press this button here. I think you press it reset here. I think you right click here. You set. I think you here set rebet node and put everything, or rebet set nodes to default, and it goes back to the original one. Okay, so I can probably pump up the gamma a little bit to make it a little bit like brighter. You see? So now I have this blur. Okay. Now if I want to put another node, let's put another node. Let's see what we can put here. You see constant, this is right, constant. There's no here for the roto paint. There's no here for the play with the time. You go here that play with the channels. Here this is only for color and stuff. Here you go like all the filter. You go blur, emboss. What can we do here? Oh, this is quite funny. This one I think is let's put glow. I can put glow here. So you go here. Now it's gonna glow, so I'm gonna go here and put the size of the glow bigger, so you see you get this dreamy look. You can see you got that. You see? So you got let's put it bigger. Let's put it to let's say brightness. Put it really bright. So pretty much what I did, I took this image, I blur it, and then I pump up the color a little bit, and then I make a glow. This is the way it reads. It's read from this step 1, step 2, step 3. So if I change the order, so if I unhook this, by where you just click here and then unhook them. So if I take this guy, okay, then let's say I put the glow first, then it will be the original one with the glow. Then I probably put the glow on top. So now, sorry, the glow first, then I blur it, then I grade it at the end, and then that will give me a different result. You see, because I changed the order in which the operation took place. Okay, so now it's different. So this stuff here is if you put it in a different order, it will give you a different result. So you have to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So we're gonna learn that during the course. Don't worry about that. So again, glow, blur, grade. Okay, I can change the order again. If I put the grade here, I pump the grade first, then I do the glow, and then I do the blur, and then give me something different, and then keep going like that. Okay, so that's the way you connect the nodes there. So if I want to animate something, there is another here. You go again. You go all the stuff here, which is you can sharpen, soften, all that stuff here. So and then you go the key. This is for like green screen work, and you go here, which is layers and stuff. That's something that's quite important. We're going to talk about that. And then you go here the transform, so you can transform stuff, warp it, stabilize, camera shake. So something that's always use a transform. So if I put this here and transform, and then if I want to rotate this, I can rotate the image. You see, it rotates from that pivot point. Yeah, similar to Photoshop. Okay, so I can animate this as well, and it goes to the playback here. Look at the playback, just like any other software. You go here, you put in and out, so you get the playback. This is only one image, so it's nothing not to make any difference. So now if I want to animate this, I can probably go here and probably go back to the original. On frame 1, all I have to do in frame 1, click on this button and say set key. And then automatically, every time you move this attribute, it will automatically set a key. So if I go here to frame 60 and I knock this down like that, then it's automatically creating a keyframe, you see? Because I did changes to the attribute. So I click here, you see? You got that. Okay. So now, if I want to do, for example, transform, and then I do, let's say, I think it's, let's put a blur here. So it's a blur size. There's something called, I think if you click this button, yeah. So if I click here, don't worry about what I'm doing at the moment, but I just want to show you something. So if I put this and I put the width, I make it really blur, like 10 or like 30. So I blurred it. So I'm just gonna pump up this in the view so you can see what's going on. So you can see the moment you see I go animation and I go a blur. So at the moment this is being blurred on this direction. Okay, so I animate, but look at this. Look at the way the blur always stays. It always stays in this direction, no matter how much it spins this stuff. You see, it always stays like that because first I have the image, I transform it first, and then I blur it. Now, if I change the concatenation order of this, if I uncheck click here and click there and let it go. So if I blur first, okay, and then I transform, it will be different. You see? Now, because I have the image, I blur it first, and then I transform it. Now, you see, look what happened with the blur. Now the blur lines come with the actual rotation, the transformation, because the step was done before the transform. You see, so this is quite important, the order you connect the nodes. So if from top to bottom, the final will not be at the bottom, backwards to what it is in Adobe Photoshop or Adobe After Effects. So you have to bear that in mind. Okay, so this is quite important, the way you connect things. Okay, so I'm just gonna delete this. So don't worry about that, about what nodes I use. We're gonna talk about that. If the image is too bright, it's because it's being here in the viewer. So it's something that obviously is only on the viewer, nothing to do with the actual manipulation of the image. Okay, and again, let me undo that. So I'm just gonna go back here and the animation. And if you wanna see the keys for it, you just go into the curve editor, just like in Maya. You see, you got a curve here, you got a curve there. You can do a little bit easy in. You can select here. Just like in Maya, you click here, you can do this stuff there, and if you go here, the top sheet, you can take the rotate and you can just probably move the keys around. You see how this here changes this because I'm moving from frame 60 to frame 30 something. You see how they keep more. I stay 40, then it will be faster. Okay, so I'm going back to the first frame, so now the rotation will be faster. Okay, so we're gonna go more in depth on that. So that's a quick introduction. You can find tons of tutorials online how to play around with the dope sheet and the curve editor. It's pretty straightforward. So I'm gonna stop it now here for this, and then I'm gonna go and talk later on about how to do the preferences and the project setup. And then I'm gonna show you how to export image and how to read image sequences, and then I'm gonna show you at the end, the last bit, how to have everything together so it comes with you every time you move your folders around. Okay, this is a very, like I said, this is a very brief introduction. There's so much going on, and the same here. If you want to manipulate here, you just press the middle click scroll button. You can in and out. If you middle click and drag, you can just pan around. Okay, and the click is the left click is only for selecting stuff. This is middle click is panning, and I think right click, you get the actual menu with right click, this menu you have here, and you can get all the you get all this stuff plus all the tools with the right click. If you want to scroll down, you just have to select this, and I think with Alt middle click as well, Alt middle click and drag, you zoom in, or just use the scroll wheel there. Okay, so that's it for now, guys. All right, thank you very much. Bye bye.